Hi guys, welcome to my channel and my name is Maddie and today I'm going to interview a foreigner in the Philippines. So now let's get started.
Yeah, guys, the foreigner is me, the husband.
So I just want to ask him some questions that I never asked for 6 years and now so he'll going to share with you guys. So what about you, Carl?
Yeah, now I'm very excited, of course. Questions which you never asked in 6 years. Oh my God. No, seriously, guys, we are a little bit proud today because I thought we have a good idea. You know, we are an interracial couple. I'm living here. I'm a German citizen living for 10 years in the Philippines, and I'm married with this wonderful Filipina. And we had the ideas to talk about how it is to living in the Philippines as an interracial couple, how it is to live in the Philippines as a foreigner. In the next weeks, we try to make like a little rubric about this, and we really want to give you a deeper insight into the Philippines in a relationship, how it is here, the pros, the cons, but we also try to give you maybe good ideas for foreigners when they want to come to the Philippines, what they have to think about, what they try to avoid, kind of mistakes and something like that. And so we also want that you have maybe, let's say, good advisors, maybe the wrong word, but a clue, a tip, idea what to do, and a little helping. So that's it, and we are pretty excited how we will do that. So much.
So if you're be a foreigner and you're planning to moving here in the Philippines, would you be like a rich person or at least savings that you can survive while in the Philippines?
That's a good question, Mats. Yeah, that's a really good question because you know, when you come here as a foreigner, it's very easy to mingle. Not only with the Filipinos who are really open-minded, it's also easy to mingle with other foreigners. You see, you know, when you are like a white guy here and other white guys see you, they are mostly much more open-minded, like in their countries, they want to mingle. So that's why I met in the last year tons of people, foreigners all over the world, and they had mostly all one in their mind, or many of them had in their mind, go to the Philippines, you can live there with very little money and you have a huge lifestyle, like at home, you live with $1,000 close to a homeless situation, and here you live with $1,000 like a king. And to your question, Mats, I would say it's not like that.
It's not easy as it is.
No, it is not like that. It depends about what kind of standard you have, and mostly you bring the standard from your country to the Philippines. That means it starts, for example, I don't know if you hear the noise, it's from an aircon. Here it's very humidity and very hot, and you need, as a foreigner, you have, I need, after 10 years, an aircon every day, and that costs you then easily 150 bucks a month. So what I mean is, the Philippines are not really cheap when you live a little bit like you live at home. You want to go to a nice restaurant from time to time, you want to live in a decent house, you want to have a nice standard with the aircon and all the other things. And then I think it would be okay if you really have already some money. If you come here, or that you have a job in prospect where you can earn some money. Foreigners are not bad paid here in the Philippines, so that's a good opportunity. Or you have a decent retirement money, something like that. But if you see to the statistics, then the people are saying, with 200 bucks or 300 bucks a month, it's the average income of a Filipino. So there are people who have maybe $500 or $600 retirement money, and then they are thinking, oh, I have your double money like the average income of a Filipino, so I'm already well off. But with $500 or $600 a month, you would not be completely happy to live in the Philippines.
Yeah.
You could survive, but
In
it is
the-
not what you expect, right?
Yeah, it's like you have to limit yourself because here, as a Filipina, I also saw a lot of foreigners who just came in here and they enjoy nightlife. But guys, it's not cheap really. For the food, if you notice that if you're going to grocery, if you remember the price before, you could really see that it's not cheap. It's increasing time to time. And for me as a Filipina, it's if you can survive a simple, decent life, if you're in the province, of course, you can say that's cheaper. But if you're living in the city, it's really big difference. It's like you're living in abroad.
For
So-
example, I told you that I come from Germany, and now we are living in Cebu. Cebu is the second biggest town in the Philippines, and it's really one of the fastest growing towns. It's a boom town in Southeast
Yeah.
Asia. And for example, if you want to eat a little bit like you would eat in Europe or in the US, so occasionally a little bit cheese, occasionally a steak or something like that, the food is more expensive than what I would spend in Germany. So therefore, you have maybe already a little clue how it is. You don't have to be rich to answer your question. You really don't have to be rich to have a decent life in the Philippines. But in my perspective, if you would have not a own house, you should have maybe $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
That would be already nice. And if you have a house, you can live also, let's say, with $1,000 a month. But that is what you should have at least. And
Yeah.
very important, maybe I don't know your questions, but maybe you will ask me that later. You should also have savings in case of that you need a doctor.
Yes,
Very
for your
important.
health, of course. That's, I heard many foreigners are complaining about our health system here. So, as he already experienced a lot of trouble, and for me, yeah.
Yes.
But so that's why he has to fly back to Germany during the general checkup. So now I'm gonna ask you a question. For 10 years, right?
Yes.
Living in the Philippines, what would you like to share, to advise, or some other most important for the people or for the foreigner who would like to live in the Philippines? What would you like to share?
Okay, fine, Mats. I would say, okay, we spoke already a little bit about the money. Later, guys, we will make extra videos to every little aspect, also from what we are talking now, so that you really have later some statistics, some good advices about money, about jobs, about insurances, about doctors, about properties. If you want to come here and one day maybe you want to have your own spot, and so
Yeah.
on and so many other things, nice ways where you can enjoy your time, like tourist hotspots and nice landmarks and so on and so on. Today we just want to talk a little bit in general and also to introduce what we want to do next. My good advisors and what you should avoid. Next, that you should have a little bit money. It is a question of trust. Yeah. So not only the Filipinos. The rumors are that sometimes when you come to Asia, some people try to take advantage from a foreigner. I have the feeling that even the foreigners are more the problem than the Filipinos. Yeah, so many foreigners are try to take advantage, if I'm honest. So, for example, when you come, I know people who came here they fall out of the airplane, they had already in mind to settle here in the Philippines before they ever were in the Philippines or Southeast Asia, and they had already almost the money in their suitcase to buy a house. Sorry guys, but please believe me, that's nonsense. Don't do that. Really don't do that. So the question of trust, because of course it's so complicated in many ways here, that people give you always the advice immediately to buy this, to buy that, and that they want to help you. So don't do that. Come here and first make your own experience, get your own impression. My good advice is before you come to the Philippines to settle, come to the Philippines and spend here some holidays, yeah, or if you have longer time, maybe you're already retired, come here for 3 months, don't give up anything in your country, keep your apartment or whatever where you come from.
That you can always going back. And you have space to stay.
And just enjoy the first time and grow with the Philippines step by step, because actually this country has a lot to offer. I found my big love in the Philippines. This is almost also a good advice if you really want to have a wonderful wife. Then in the Philippines it's really wonderful. The people here, the men and the women, they are really lovable, and we can take care for each other, and we can have really a wonderful, warm-hearted relationship. And I can recommend here 1,000 things. Madi, it's a nice landscape. You have so wonderful islands. You see, when you see, there are movies where they show the wonderful beaches. You can go to Boracay, you can go to other places in the Philippines. It is a nice spot to live.
So my next question is, are you regretting to coming in the Philippines, or are you already considering to live your life for the rest of your life here in the Philippines?
Oh, that's a very comprehensive question, Max. No, let's say like that. 10 years ago, when I turned 50, I had already a little bit money, because I tried to make a decent career before when I was young, and I was working in the media business, and at that time they paid good for this kind of work. And so when I was 50, I thought, okay, now after 25 years work, it would be maybe nice to discover now other things. And for me it was always interesting. There's a saying that means think the opposites. That means that you are here on earth to see all the different facets, this French word, I guess it's correct. It means all the different and opposite sides of living. That means to see how it is to making a career, but also how it is to discover the world. And before I came to the Philippines, I was traveling, I don't know, in 40, 50 countries on this globe, and Philippines was one of my closer choices. I had also the idea.
How did you find Philippines anyway?
Before I was working sometimes in Asia, in Japan for example, but I was also traveling a lot in Asia. I was in Thailand before Thailand became a hotspot for not so decent people from me. All these tourists who are looking for pleasure. I was there already in the 80s, and I was in India, I was in Indonesia, I was in Bali before it became a tourist hotspot. I was in so many other places in Asia. So Asia was always a place to go, and Philippines. I never was in the Philippines before, but that was on my agenda, and I like in general the attitude of Asian people. Alternative, I had the feeling maybe it would be good to go to South America. I was always a fan of Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
Buenos Aires is the capital of Argentina, and it is called the Paris of South America. So that was the alternative.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I came and I decided here 10 years ago to come to the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
The question, if I will stay here for the rest of my life, did I regret it? There is maybe a regret, and the regret could be that the decision to stop working when I was 50, sometimes I think that was maybe too early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm a person who is doing, and I told you we did here also a lot, and we can do also a lot here in Asia, but I regret sometimes my my media work, actually. Yeah, this is what I regret. To stay here for the rest of my life, I would say that's easy to answer. If my health is fine, I would like to stay here for the rest of my time. If my health is not fine, I would prefer to stay probably in Europe again. And finally, the decision is probably up to you.
Well, that will be.
Yeah, because as you know, you're not alone.
Yeah, so my next question, so guys, we move for the next questions. Is I'm going to ask you, what is your goal in life?
My goal in life. I think maybe, I don't know if there's one goal in life, or goal in life is something which develops, and it develops with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you are learning, and life is lifetime learning. For me, a wonderful life means that learning never stops. And with the learning, you always adjust, you always get new experience, and you always have maybe not new goals, but that you specify the goal more and more.
Mm-hmm.
This is one thing, that's why it's hard to say, but of course there are also probably when you become a teenager,
Yeah.
and the following years, some basics which never will leave you. So for me, for example, money was never a goal. So money came always with what you do.
Yeah.
But the goal was that that you try. That the goal was to learn. Yeah, I was interested in politics. I was interested in philosophy. I was interested to discover countries. I was interested to see the world in the opposite. For example, as a journalist, and that's why the job was fitting, maybe not bad to me. I had to do with completely different people. I was making interviews with the German Chancellor Helmut Kohl, for example, and I make interviews with homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was connected to people who were very rich, and I was connected for a while with people who are disabled, blind, people who are running a blind museum, or a museum for blind people, for example. And that was a goal, to see the world from the opposites. Because when you are connected to the full range of life, and not that you're living only in a little shoebox,
Yeah.
then I thought you can have, when you become older, and now I am here older, you have an idea what could be this Earth, this planet,
Mm-hmm.
what is the seed of our living, of the humans, and so on. And to get this little, the big word, this little wisdom,
Wisdom.
was one of the goals what I had.
Yeah. So my next question is, as a TV journalist, what's the most experience that you never forget till now?
the most experience what I ever had. Let's say it is something which is connected to pressure, because this is. I was working, for example, I had some jobs. Yeah, I was developing for press agencies, but I was working also in the news. When I was a young journalist, I started in the news, and in the news, especially in television, you are working under huge pressure. Yeah. For example, you go to your office and at 10 o'clock in Germany, in Berlin, for example, and at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock you have a conference, and then they will tell you that in the evening they want to have a story from abroad.
It's like
You are hurrying like the hell, yeah. So you have to
like
to organize a team, for example, in Poland, yeah. And then you have to fly to Poland. You have in parallel. You have to read, to learn about the story. You have to meet people. You have to write it. You have to produce it, and so on. And to work under this pressure. This was for me even more remarkable, like interviews that I did interviews with people, actors from this sequel Enterprise, or that I was attending Hillary Clinton when her husband was president.
Wow.
And I was attending her when Clinton was visiting Germany. She was the first lady, or just other famous people. That was also remarkable. And when I will write a little bit my own biography, only for my own, that maybe this is also a part, but to work under this pressure, and that the whole life is yours as a journalist. When you find something which is interesting, and you convince, if you're not the chief editor already, you convince your chief editor or your other chief editor, you can do, and there is no hiding place for you in work. You just can do, and you can look, and you can learn about it, and you can give it to other people. I mean, we are not as journalists do it for ourselves. We are doing it for the other people.
Yes. That's really
long answer for your short question.
Yeah. So my last questions, I guess it's not my last. So I was gonna ask you, are you happy?
Yes, I am happy because I'm happily married, and I am happy because I have a wonderful family, and I grew up in a wonderful family, wonderful mother, father, sister, and so on and so on. And I had a lot of luck in my life, and I had a lot of opportunities. The thing is, what makes me not so happy is when I think about what you have all nowadays, starting from Corona, starting about the political situation, probably in the Western societies. When you see all the problems living in a third or second world country, although this saying is not appropriate nowadays anymore, but just to make it short, that you know what I mean, in a country which is not so rich, and in a country which has specific problems like Philippines, but also many other similar countries like Indonesia, Myanmar, whatever, you can compare that. Then, of course, you are not happy every day, and if you think about kids and their future, that you are afraid that their future is not so good than the future what I had in the past 60 years as a European with no war, 60 years in a good social system, 60 years where you get your education for free, and all these kind of things. The question is, will the people have that all in the future?
Yeah.
So we are at the edge of of the iceberg. We are in the time where fundamentally everything is changing. The way how we work, the way how we live in the future, the global warming, all this kind of problems.
Yeah.
So that makes me concerned, and that makes me actually a little bit unhappy.
So now I'm thinking to add another question. So today is already December 5, I guess. So few days from now, it's Christmas. If the God will give you chance to, if you like chance to do something like if you wish something that, if you would you like to going back as where you have and still working, because I know how love your work is, or you have to consider continue the life that you have right now in the Philippines?
You mean as a wish for Christmas?
Yeah.
No, my wish for Christmas would be not for
If the God will give you chance to one thing that you could wish for, like for example that you have to, like you miss your job, you love your job, I know that, and if the God will say that I will send you back where you are or where you at before, or like looking for, you choose the life that you have right now and could here in the Philippines. Is that right? I guess you should just, if you don't understand, you can ask.
No,
it,
I
but guess
understand.
it's like,
I
if the
understand.
God gives you chance. to
Yeah,
do-
I understand you much, but I would say no. As long as our health would be fine, I would maybe I would pray for God to give us a baby. Oh, what a secret we are talking here about.
That's God.
No, and I would not have, beside a little bit the good health, I would have no wish for myself. I would have more wishes like for my loved ones, of course, that they have a nice life, and also that the people will find a way to live peacefully and happy together, and that we will be all together the master of the future.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Hi guys. Thank you for watching. And if you like to ask more, you can comment down below. And I looking forward to answering you, or even my husband can do as well. So, hey, bye.
And hit the subscribe button.
Yeah. don't
Ring the
forget-
bell. In the future, you will get
Notification.
stories which maybe can help you or will interesting you, and so on. Bye bye. Also for me.
Bye.